The Maranao, also known as Maranao or Mranao, are known as the people of the lake, deriving their name from the word Ranao, which means lake. Their homeland is located around Lake Lanao, the second largest lake in the Philippines, situated in Lanao del Sur. At the northern tip of the lake lies Marawi City, the main urban center of the province. Marawi is split by the August River, which flows into the Maria Cristina Falls, a major source of hydroelectric power of Lanao del Norte and Lanao del Sur. The Maranao language is part of the Danao languages, which also include Ilanon and Maguindanao. The Maranao population is estimated at over 1 million people. They make up 96% of the population in Marawi and 78% in Lanao del Sur, while they are a minority in Lanao del Norte, where Bisaya groups like the Cebuano dominate. A key part of this legend says that when the first Muslim missionaries arrived, the people of Bombaran rejected Islam. As a consequence, the entire kingdom was submerged and became what it is now as Lake Lanao. Only four people survived this catastrophe, and these survivors are believed to be the ancestors of the modern Maranao people. It is stated that before the introduction of Islam, the Maranao people lived in barangays, which were small, independent political units typically based on family ties. In the 16th century, Sharif Muhammad Kabungsuan introduced Islam in Malabang, leading to political integration among the Maranao, although this was later hindered by Maguindanao royalty. And also in 1578, Spanish expeditions against Muslim groups in the south began. With intermittent Moro wars, the Spaniards struggled to conquer Muslim territories. In 1596, Captain Rodriguez de Figueroa was granted the right to colonize Mindanao but was killed, leading to Muslim raids or Visayan towns, which were eventually repelled. And now let's go to the early 17th century. Sultan Kudarat formed a large Muslim alliance, and the Spanish occupied Zamboanga and defeated Kudarat's force but faced continuous resistance. In 1639 to 1640, Spanish expeditions explored and attempted to conquer Lanao but were unsuccessful, leading to the development of Maranao defensive strategies. Now, in 1848 to 1886, the Spaniards used naval support and eventually conquered Sulu, while efforts to assert control in other areas like Cotabato were met with limited success. In 1891 to 1896, Governor General Weyler led a campaign against Maranao and Maguindanao with some temporary victories but ultimately insufficient for lasting control. In 1899, the Bates Agreement established a non-aggression pact with Muslim leaders, but resistance continued. In 1902 to 1909, uprisings against American control persisted, particularly in Lanao, which notable resistance led by Dato Tunggul and others. In 1913 to 1920, the Department of Mindanao and Sulu was replaced by the Bureau of Non-Christian Tribes, leading to reforms that includes land changes and abolition of traditional laws. In 1934 to 1941, Muslim leaders participated in constitutional convention, but discontent due to an effort to integrate Muslims into Philippine society and end traditional exemptions. In 1959 to 1965, the Lanao provinces were divided. The Jabida massacre heightened tensions, leading to separatist movements. And now in 1969 to 1976, the Moro National Liberation Front (MNLF) was founded and engaged in peace negotiations which lead to the Tripoli Agreement and an attempt at autonomy. And in 1989 to 2008, the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or ARMM was established, but efforts for lasting peace were undermined by continued violence and controversial Memorandum of Agreement on Ancestral Domain, or MOA-AD. And notably, in 2011 to 2017, negotiations lead to the creation of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARM. Back in 1960s and 70s, Lake Lanao was bustling with fish, but recently surveys shows a drastic decline in fish production by over 95%. This is partly because of the construction of hydroelectric power plants, which has disrupted the lake's ecosystem. The Maranao people rely on agriculture for their development and livelihood. They grow rice, corn, fruits, and vegetables. Modern farming techniques have helped increase their yields, but many still live in poverty due to limited economic opportunities. Even though the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or ARMM, was created to boost development and peace, poverty remains widespread in Lanao del Sur. And now let's go to the political system of the Maranao community. The Maranao live in Agama, or hamlets, politically defined by the presence of at least one torogan or great house. Where community gatherings are held, every Agama is organized into two or more bangsa or ambilineal descent lines, each of which owns at least one hereditary title. The actual holder of the major title is considered the representative of the bangsa. With each gamma, one or more title holders belongs to a superior political level and are given the title sultan. This larger organization of hamlets is the effective political community, and its strong federal system serves to unite the four Maranao, Pingampong, or states or encampments. These are the Bayabao, Masyo, Unayan, and Balui into Apat e Pingampong, Coranao under the Taritib, or ancient order of customs, traditions, and usages observed in the community. In the past, Maranao society was defined by a three-rank system that included persons having claim to titles, free people with no claim to titles, and bond slaves. Nowadays, with slavery abolished, stratification depends more on wealth and power and is expressed in Bangsa system. So in Chimen, 1990, in 116 to 124, the Sultan, Dato, and other aristocrats who constitute the traditional elite continue to wield influence in Maranao society. Although stripped of temporal power, they are nevertheless seen as symbolizing Islam and Adat, or customary law. The highly educated professionals, such as academicians, lawyers, doctors, and engineers, belong to the secular elite. Because of their education, they are able to exercise considerable influence in Maranao society. The religious elite consists of imam, religious leader, kali, religious judge, religious teachers, preachers, and pious men. Failure of election has been a fixture in the province since the restoration of democracy in the Philippines in 1987, a year after the EDSA revolt, until the recently as 2010, a failure of election is declared in an area when election officers tasked to facilitate the process fail to show up and start the polls, most likely because of threats to their safety or the occurrence of violence incidents. From 1998 to 2007, voters in five towns of Lanao del Sur could not cast their votes in regular election days because of failure of elections. These five towns are Madalum, Lumbatan, Lumba Bayabao, Bayang, and Sultan. Sultan Dumalong, that is based on GMA News in 2007. This is the simplest and most common type of house for the Maranao people. The lawig serves as the dwelling for the average families and is primarily made of bamboo, wood, and other natural materials. Next is the Malaawalay, which translates to big house. Unlike the Lawig, a Malaawalay is a larger and built for wealthier families, often belonging to the local nobility or prominent members of the community. The house is more elaborate in design, featuring carved wooden panels and the decorative elements that represents Maranao artistry. We have the Torogan, which is the most significant and prestigious type of Maranao house. The Torogan serves as the royal house traditionally reserved for a sultan and his family. The structure is not only a residence, but a symbol of leadership and power. The Torogan is distinguished by its massive size, sloping roof, and intricate carvings, particularly the famous panolong, the wing-like extension that adorn the roof corners. The Torogan stands as the cultural landmark, embodying the Maranao's architectural and artistic heritage. Let's go to the Maranao music. Buni-bunian refers to the traditional Maranao instrumental music played using instruments like large gongs, small flat gongs, drums, and bamboo instruments. Maranao folk dance are deeply connected to the Darangan epic with two main types: reenactment of epic episodes like Kaganat sa Darangan, Sagayan, and Saduratan, and adaptations like Kap, Kape Malong Malong, and some dances such as Kadaolat sa Miatay focus on life cycle ritual and honoring the dead.